Welcome to the Grateful Living Podcast. Hi, beautiful souls. Welcome back to the Grateful Living Podcast. Today's episode is something I think a lot of people experience, but you don't always have a language for it. And that is not trusting yourself, not trusting your decisions, not trusting your instincts, second-guessing yourself, overthinking things that should feel simple. And on the surface, it can look like a confidence issue, but it's not. It's a trust issue. And more specifically, it's a self-trust issue. But even deeper than that, what I've come to understand is self-trust isn't just a mindset. Self-trust is safety. And until your body feels safe trusting you, you will keep doubting yourself no matter how much you try to think differently. Self-trust isn't just about believing in yourself. It's the belief that you can make decisions, follow through on them, and handle whatever happens next. And that belief is not built through thoughts. It's built through experience. Your brain is constantly asking, can I rely on this person? And that person is you. So every action you take is either building that trust or weakening it. Most people don't suddenly wake up one day and lose trust. It's built slowly over time, through small moments like saying you'll do something and not doing it, ignoring your intuition, staying in situations longer than you should have, abandoning your needs to keep the peace, and each time that happens, your brain logs it. There's a concept in neuroscience called predictive processing, which basically means your brain is constantly predicting your future based on your past behaviour. So if your past behaviour has been, I don't follow through, I override myself, I second guess everything, your brain doesn't see that as random, it sees it as a pattern. And then it starts to expect that pattern from you, not to punish you, but to protect you. Here's where the nervous system comes in. Your nervous system's main job is safety, not success, not confidence, safety. So it constantly asks, is it safe to rely on you? And if in your past you've been inconsistent, your system will respond with caution. That shows up as overthinking, procrastinating, indecision, needing reassurance, not because you're incapable, but because your system is unsure if you're reliable yet. So if your brain is building patterns and your nervous system is responding to those patterns, then the next question naturally becomes, how do those patterns actually get created in the first place? And this is where your habits come in. There's a really powerful idea in Atomic Habits that explains this perfectly. James Clear says, every action you take is a vote for the type of person you believe you are. So when you follow through, keep promises to yourself, act on your intuition, you're casting votes for, I am someone I can trust. And when you don't, you're casting votes in the opposite direction. And over time, those votes become identity. And when that identity isn't stable, that's when confusion starts to creep in. That's when people start asking, how do I know if my intuition? That's when people start asking, how do I know if it's my intuition or my anxiety? And honestly, when you don't trust yourself, everything can feel unclear because you don't have a stable internal reference point. Your intuition becomes quieter and your anxiety becomes louder. From a brain perspective, anxiety activates the amygdala, which is responsible for detecting threat. So your system starts scanning everything for danger, even when there isn't any. And that's why you can feel torn between decisions. It's not confusion, it's your system trying to protect you. And this links really closely to something I've learned through neuroscience about how the brain actually builds these patterns. Dr. Tara Swart talks about how the brain strengthens pathways through repetition. So the more you repeat a thought or behaviour, the stronger the pathway becomes. Which means if your pattern has been, I don't trust myself, your brain doesn't question it, it reinforces it. Not because it's true, but because it's familiar. And when you hear that, it can feel quite abstract. So I want to bring this into something a bit more real. I've definitely seen this in my own life, moments where I knew something didn't feel right, but I stayed anyway. Or I had a clear instinct and I talked myself out of it. And at the time, it might not have felt like a big deal, but over time, those moments build a pattern. And that pattern becomes, I don't always act on what I know. And that's where self-trust starts to weaken. And this is exactly why just thinking positively doesn't fix it. You can say, I trust myself, but your body is asking, based on what? Self-trust is built through evidence, not just words. So naturally, the next question is, how do you actually rebuild that trust? So up till now, we've spoken about what self-trust actually is, how it gets broken over time, how your brain and nervous system respond to that, and why it can feel so confusing. So now let's bring this into something practical. Let's talk about how you actually start rebuilding self-trust. I'm going to break this into a few simple shifts. And as I go through them, just notice which one resonates with you the most. First, micro promises. The first way you rebuild self-trust is through micro promises. Not big overwhelming changes, but like small little things. Like if you say you're going to do something, do it. Even if it's going for a walk, replying to a message, drinking water, because what you're doing in those moments is showing your brain, I follow through. And that matters more than you think. The second thing is following through on what you already know. Not what you need to learn, not more information, what you already feel, because most of the time you do know. It's just that you don't always act on it. The third shift is noticing where you outsource your decisions, where you ask everyone else, look for reassurance, or delay choosing, and slowly bringing that back to yourself, even if it feels uncomfortable at first. And the fourth piece is this. Self-trust isn't always about being right. It's about trusting that you can handle whatever happens next. That's what creates real stability. Now, this next part is really important because even if you start doing all that, there's something that can keep you stuck, and that is this. Your brain might not register the change. So this is where we go deeper. It's not just about creating new evidence, it's about reinforcing it. There's something called the negativity bias, which means your brain is naturally wired to focus on mistakes, what went wrong, moments of doubt. So even when you are improving, your brain can still default back to, I don't trust myself. And this is something I've had to be really intentional about. I have what I call an impact folder. And if you've listened to my podcast before, you might have heard me mention this. It's basically a folder where I save screenshots, wins, feedback, moments where I followed through, and evidence of me showing up. And when self-doubt comes in, I don't rely on how I feel. I go back to what I can see, because feelings fluctuate, but evidence grounds you. And what you're doing in these moments is showing your brain, this is who I am now. You're updating your identity through repetition. So if you can take anything from this episode, let it be this. Start collecting evidence. Small evidence, daily evidence, because the more you see it, the more your brain starts to believe it. And when you start doing that consistently, something shifts. Not overnight, but gradually. Self-trust isn't about being perfect. It's not about always knowing the right answer. It's about building a relationship with yourself where your actions and your intentions start to align. And if you don't trust yourself right now, that doesn't mean something is wrong with you. It just means that the relationship needs rebuilding. And you can start that in really small, consistent ways. If this resonated with you, send it to someone who needs to hear it, or comment in the comment section. And as always, take what resonates, leave what doesn't. Take good care. Until next time. Thank you for listening to today's episode. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram at @the_grateful_living.